This little stick has become one of the most familiar objects in the world. Just paper, dried leaf, and a simple pull of air. But behind every cigarette is a system built for scale. How are cigarettes actually made? What goes on behind those factory doors? Let's find out. Part 1, where it all begins. We begin far from any factory, deep in the open farmland of North Carolina. It's early spring. The ground is still cool and damp from winter. Across these acres, workers prepare for what will eventually become billions of cigarettes. These aren't just traditional farmers. They're more like field engineers, orchestrating an agricultural system designed for speed, consistency, and output. Tobacco starts from something almost invisible. The seeds are no bigger than a grain of sand. In vast greenhouse nurseries, trays are filled with rich soil. Then, a mechanical seeding arm gently dusts the surface with thousands of tiny seeds. Once the trays are ready, they're laid out in neat rows under glass roofs, soaking in warm humidity and diffuse sunlight. After about 7 weeks, those seeds have become seedlings. They're now about the size of a child's hand, with roots strong enough to survive outdoors. At this point, they're machine transplanted into long, flat fields. A tractor equipped with mechanical arms punctures the soil, drops in each seedling, and closes the hole in a single continuous motion. Over the next couple of months, those tiny sprouts grow tall and broad. The plants stretch up to a person's chest. Their wide, waxy leaves are filled with nicotine and natural oils. But they're not ready yet. In July, the plants begin to flower. And that's a problem. When tobacco starts to bloom, its energy shifts from leaf growth to reproduction. So tractors sweep through the rows, slicing off the flowers with spinning blades. At the same time, growth inhibitors are sprayed on the stems. This forces every last bit of plant energy straight into the leaves. That's where the value is. That's what ends up in the smoke. Part 2, the harvest and the cure. By late summer, the leaves change color. Bright green fades to yellow. The tips begin to droop. That's the signal. It's harvest time. Digging machines move through the fields, lifting entire plants from the ground, roots and all. The plants are loaded into bins and stacked onto trucks, ready for the next phase of transformation. The trucks drive straight to the curing barns. These are long, low buildings where fresh tobacco leaves turn into something smokable. Inside the barn, there's no open flame. Instead, wood-burning furnaces heat the floor below. Warm, dry air rises up, circulating around the leaves that are hung from wooden slats. Over the course of 5 to 8 weeks, the leaves lose their moisture slowly. They turn yellow, then golden, and finally, a soft, leathery brown. If the temperature is too high, the leaves scorch. Too low, and mold sets in. It's a delicate process. Once the leaves are cured to perfection, they're pressed into massive rectangular bundles and strapped in for transport. Now it's time to head to the factory. Part 3, building the cigarette. The processing plant is where raw leaf becomes product. The bales of cured tobacco are opened and the leaves are sorted by size, type, and quality. Premium grade leaves go one way. Lower grade ones head elsewhere, often for cheaper blends or exports. Dry leaves can snap like paper. To prevent that, they're rehydrated. Inside these huge rotating drums, the leaves are softened with a mist of steam and water. Once pliable, they move to the stripping station. Here, powerful rollers grip each leaf and pull out the stem in one quick move. Think of it like a mechanical spine surgery, performed thousands of times per minute. What's left is the flat tobacco blade. These are sent through cutting machines that shred them into narrow ribbons just a few millimeters wide. This shredded leaf is called cut rag. It's the raw material for the cigarette core. But it doesn't go straight into the paper just yet. Now comes blending. Different types of tobacco, usually Virginia, Burley, and Oriental, are mixed to form a specific taste profile. Virginia adds sweetness. Burley adds body. Oriental adds aroma. Every cigarette brand has its own formula, its own signature recipe. These formulas are tightly guarded secrets. But modern cigarettes aren't just tobacco. Part 4, Chemistry of Addiction. At this stage, the cut rag is sprayed with a cocktail of additives. Some of these are flavorings like sugar, cocoa, or licorice. Others are functional, menthol for cooling, ammonia to enhance nicotine absorption. Together, they change how the cigarette feels in your mouth, how it burns, and how addictive it becomes. This is where the controversy begins. The tobacco industry has been accused of manipulating nicotine delivery for decades. Internal documents and whistleblowers have shown that everything from sugar content to burn rate is carefully engineered to maximize satisfaction and dependency. Once flavored and treated, the tobacco is dried one last time to hit the ideal moisture level. Too dry and it falls apart. Too wet and it won't burn properly. Now, it's finally ready to be rolled. Part 5. The assembly line. This part of the factory moves like a printing press, only instead of ink and paper, it prints addiction. The processed tobacco is laid down on a moving belt in a long, even stream. Overhead, a huge roll of cigarette paper, nearly 5 miles long, is slowly unspooled. As the paper moves forward, the tobacco is dropped in a continuous line. High-speed rollers fold the paper over and seal it with glue. This forms a long, solid rod of tobacco. That rod is then sliced into equal segments, each the size of a cigarette. Now comes the filter. Filters are made from cellulose acetate, a type of plastic. Long strands are crimped into tight cylinders, wrapped in paper and cut to size. These are attached to the tobacco rods using a piece of golden paper known as tipping paper. You've seen it 1,000 times without noticing. The little band at the filter end. High-speed machines like the Protos M can produce up to 20,000 cigarettes per minute, roughly 1,000 every 3 seconds. Each cigarette is scanned for defects. Bent filters, loose fillings, misaligned glue, any flaw, and the cigarette is blown off the line by a jet of compressed air. The perfect ones move forward to packaging. Part 6. From factory to storefront. 20 cigarettes are grouped and wrapped in foil to lock in freshness. Then they're placed in branded cardboard packs. The pack is sealed in protective plastic, labeled and loaded into cartons. 10 packs per carton. Dozens of cartons per crate. Each crate is scanned, stacked, and loaded onto trucks. By the time it leaves the factory, a cigarette has passed through more than 100 machines, sensors, and quality checks. From seed to smoke, the journey is complete. But the story doesn't end here. Part 7. The other side of the filter. The cigarette's roots go back thousands of years. The ancient Maya and Aztecs burned tobacco in ritual ceremonies. When Europeans arrived in the Americas, they brought it home, where it quickly became a luxury, and then a habit. By the 20th century, smoking was everywhere, in Hollywood films, medical ads, and wartime rations. People lit up on planes, in offices, and schools. It was a social ritual, a fashion statement, a nervous habit. Then came the science. In 1964, the U.S. Surgeon General issued the first official report linking smoking to cancer. Over the decades, that list has grown. Today, smoking is tied to heart disease, stroke, emphysema, and at least 13 types of cancer. According to the CDC, smoking kills more than 480,000 Americans every year. That's more than car crashes, gun violence, and alcohol combined. And yet, the machines keep running. Part 8. A profitable addiction. Why? Because nicotine is one of the most addictive substances on Earth, and cigarettes are optimized delivery systems. Even as smoking rates fall in the West, demand is rising in other parts of the world. Big tobacco companies are pivoting to e-cigarettes, vapes, and nicotine pouches. The goal is the same: hook a new generation. It's a business model built on repeat customers. Not for a week, not for a year, for life. So now that you know how it's made, the question is, should it be? If you learned something new, give this video a like and share it with someone who still thinks it's just paper and leaves. And if you're curious about the hidden machines that shape our world, hit subscribe. There's more to discover.